Shoma Chaudhary, Managing Editor of Tehelka, joins us right now, as does Jay Shankar, Chief Economist and Political Strategist Director at Religare Capital Markets. Thanks so much, both of you, for joining in. Shoma, I'll come to you. There are two questions to this. One is whether or not the Congress would partner or ally with the SP. Two, the hindsight question is, does the Congress have any other choice but to ally with the SP in the state of UP?
You know, a lot of this is really going to depend on how the Congress understands its own game plan. And I think, at least so far, one's interactions with Rahul or those who are close to Rahul suggest that he is determined not to play the short-term game. And as impatient as the party may get with him, he clearly seems to have set his sights on a much longer game plan. He believes that his party is completely decimated in UP, and you know, although he went in for a very high-profile campaign, I think their own sense and assessment is that this is going to be a 2-3 election cycle game, you know. So if you go by their public statements, I don't think that they're really going to ally with the SP, because the fallouts of that is probably going to be too hard for them to take, you know, both in 2014 and for this ambition of theirs to resuscitate the party. Insofar as their own performance goes, I think it's quite interesting the way commentary changes depending on how results come through, because until a couple of weeks ago, everyone was praising the Congress strategy in UP, which was to try and woo the OBC and the Dalit vote back, and to recreate, you know, of course, the OBC vote was a new constituent that the Congress was trying to woo. The fact that it's gone wrong, I think, has many facets to it. Most importantly is the fact that the Congress has absolutely no organizational framework on the ground. When we were reporting on the ground, you know, people were very frustrated that there was no one to bring the voters out, there was no one manning the polling booths. And contrast that with the SP, you know, which has a very well-oiled cadre. Akhilesh has been able to really revitalize that cadre. He's given it a new kind of sheen, a self-respect. He sent out a very strong message that, you know, he would not tolerate the kind of gundagardi that they are known for. And I think that persona of Akhilesh's has revitalized the party. So the really stark difference is not, I think, that the Congress strategy was wrong, but that they had absolutely no base to go with, you know. So even their political strategy has been based on borrowed feathers. So I'm not sure that they're really going to tie up with SP if Rahul has his way. But given that Rahul has not done, you know, the miracle that was expected in UP, maybe some of the naysayers in the party will begin to have more of a say than they have had in the run-up to the elections.
Fair enough, Shoma, stay with us. You know, let's just also get a sense of how this may impact the larger issue of business and, of course, reforms, and thereby impact the economy as a whole. Jay Shankar, come to you on this very subject. How are you looking at, you know, what a possible alliance between the SP and the Congress can do for their position at the center to push really the hard reforms that they have been trying to for a while now?
I think the results of the leads that we are seeing as of now is exactly what the market wanted and what the market was looking forward to. That of SP and coming into an alliance with the Congress. Now, the question obviously remains. There's a lot of public posturing which we have seen in the last couple of days in terms of alliances, but this is a very, very evolving and dynamic situation. We must remember that, and as they say in politics, nothing is done until the last moment. If the SP is restricted to, let's say, 160, 165, then they will have to look for an ally, and I don't think there is there's any opposition to that within SP itself. As the earlier speaker was saying, that the Congress would want to play a longer game, but we also need to appreciate the fact that the Congress needs SP at the center because of a lot of noisy allies raising their voices in the recent past, be it the NCTC or be it the anti-corruption bill itself, wherein the federalism was called into, and then some of these 4 or 5 chief ministers are actually taking the center head on, if you like. So I think the center would need ally like SP to be supporting it at the center. Now, in terms of policies, I think the market, it was a wishful thinking, I would say. Now, how much of that gets met on the ground, and how much of that gets materialized would depend on, obviously, when the Congress wants to go into the poll mode next for the 2014. If they don't want to disturb the schedule, then I think they would go ahead with a very, very prudent budget this time, and move ahead with on the fiscal consolidation path, so that they can retain as much of ammunition for the next year budget, which is anyways going to be an election year.
Shoma, coming on this, the policies or the reforms that the government has been trying to push forward, with the kind of election verdict that has come out right now, and they, in all probability, having to join hands with the SP, if indeed, as you said, the naysayers in the Congress party might now rise and say that, hey, for stability at the center, let's bite this pill. What does this do to policy reforms? I mean, the market is looking at FDI in retail, FDI in insurance, possibly some fuel rises, none of which have been addressed by the SP whenever they've spoken about their election manifesto or the election campaign. What does this do to the reforms? Do they move ahead, or are these on the back burner for the time being?
Well, you know, I don't know whether it's more about the perception, because in pure policy terms, I don't think the SP allying with the Congress would have really helped economic reform, because as far as I understand Akhilesh's game plan, he does want to stick with the socialist ideology. You know, I've been to some of his rallies, and he has strongly spoken against FDI in retail. You know, he's looking at reviving small and medium-term enterprises. He's looking at a lot of, welfare packages, free education, employment, non-employment funds. When I spoke to him, his focus was really on roads and electricity and infrastructure. It really wasn't on big industry at all, you know. And so I'm not sure that the alliance would necessarily help the kind of economic reform that you're speaking about. And ironically, Rahul Gandhi himself, in fact, is quite pro-FDI in retail and some of the other big-ticket economic reforms that you're discussing. So I don't think that, you know, that alliance was going to really change things. I think what is going to be a big blow for the government at the center is that if perceptionally they don't do as well as they were supposed to in the states, then this parliament session is also going to be a very stormy one, you know, and I'm not sure whether the opposition, and certainly the BJP is looking stronger than it was a couple of weeks ago. They're going to be yapping at the heels of the government much more than they already have done over the last year. So I think it's more a perception battle than really any big policy shift that was going to arise out of this election.
Jay, what's your sense? I mean, that point is well taken, but what do you think can happen over the next, if not the budget, which is too soon to talk about, then over the next 3 months? Do you think some of the reforms could find shape and make their way through, or now these are on the back burner?
See, before I answer the question, I would want to make a comment, and we recently visited 2 states. We went to the state of Andhra Pradesh and met the chief minister there with a group of investors, and he clearly he said that there has to be a distinction made between what is called populism and what is let's say welfare state. Now, many times, because of perception, because of what the media categorizes this as populist measures, we tend to kind of forget the lines between these two. Now, whether the Congress goes ahead in terms of taking forward policy measures and reforms after the UP election, the question seems to be very much loaded, as hinting at the fact that the Congress or the UPA too has been held back because of XYZ parties. I think what UP election, if the Congress does well, will provide a lot of, let's say, boost in terms of confidence for the Congress leadership to have a strong set of bargaining issues when they sit together with the allies on the bargaining table. Now, that is what is needed, because, for example, FDI in retail, this was not even going through the parliament. This was a decision which was taken by the cabinet, and that need not have been, so much been opposed by political parties, because this was anyways not going to be voted, if you like. So this was more of an executive order. Now many of those orders and many of those policy initiatives which are different from reforms, they need to go ahead with or without opposition from the political parties. Now that resolve has to be shown very clearly and very strongly by the leadership in UPA 2 and in the Congress. That can come if you are confident of your fortunes next time, or if you are confident of the people's support. And this is what we will be looking forward to in the election results.